player's choice. Which one should we tackle first?
Oh, Solo Leveling, because I have so many notes. I have so many notes.
She has notes, ladies and gentlemen. She got notes on Solo Leveling, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about Jinwoo on the quest for the elixir of life, amongst other things. So, Vievo, what you got? What you got for us?
So, as you know, I am still in the process of reading the webtoon.
Correct.
And at this juncture in the story, the elixir of life is not a thing, like at all.
Whoa! Time out. So they're
It's not a
deviating,
thing. Huh?
So they're deviating from the story.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's not to say that it might not come up in later chapters, but right now at this point in the story, okay, so when we start the anime or whatever, you know, he's back at his home with his sister, eating fried chicken. He realizes he can't get drunk because of a blessing that he has.
Yes.
That, you know, I feel bad for him in that respect because dang, can't get drunk. But
can't forget
how about I just start from the top and go through all the differences? How about I just start there?
Yes.
Okay.
Hit us up with that. What you got?
So in the anime, he's at home eating, drinking with his sister. Then he decides to go to his room. So that's the first deviation. And overall, his character design is like different. You can, when you're reading the webtoon and you see his character design, you can see the confidence and the budding ruthlessness coming through in his character design. Whereas in the anime, you don't necessarily get that. Like, you can see that he's changed, but the extent of the change, I think, is definitely what is the word I'm looking for? Lessened, muted. It's muted.
Yeah.
So that's overall. But so he goes to his room, right? And I believe in the anime he like goes to sleep. But in the webtoon, when he realizes that he's getting these status you know, notifications that, you know, his body is constantly being detoxified, he's like, well, I wonder, you know, if it's detoxifying poisons from my body, let me check something. So he pulls out Kasaka's venom gland that he won from that snake. And I don't know if you remember, but that toxin basically would give him stat buffs, but also would debuff. Basically, one of the main reasons why he didn't even mess with it was because it would cause permanent muscle damage. But because of the blessings that he has, like health and recovery, he was like, well, I wonder what will happen if I drink this, if this blessing that I have is automatically going to detoxify. So in the webtoon, he actually drinks it. And so that negative status buff that poison had, causing permanent muscle damage, actually was canceled out because of the blessing. So he got all of the benefits of having a tougher body without having to worry about permanent muscle damage. That was not in the anime.
Oh.
So that was I told you I took notes.
I see that.
So that's number one. And so then I think the next was he gets called out by Gino to have a conversation because Gino has these aspirations to become a guild master, and in order to essentially, you know, be the one that takes over, well, to establish a guild and kind of take over running the company from his dad, because we found out that he's like a rich kid. His father owns construction conglomerate, all of that kind of stuff. So you know, Gino shows up and he's having a conversation with him. I'll tell you, like, from the tone of the webtoon and the tone of the anime was different, because like Gino walked in there like he was a menace.
Yes.
Like, just, you know, like that confidence and that again, budding ruthlessness was coming. He walked in with his hood his hair was covering part of his eye was glowing. Like, that's what's in the webtoon, and he just strolled into the restaurant like, hey, what's up? Like, in the anime. And their conversations went slightly different. So in the anime, he like basically turns him down. We're led to believe that he kind of turns him down because, at the end, Gino is kind of like sucking his teeth like, oh, I gotta convince him. But in the webtoon, yes, Jinwoo initially turns him down, but once he hears Jinho out some more, he's like, okay, well, I'm only going to do this under one. Well, he's like, what do I get in return? And then Jinho gives him the plans for that 30 billion won, what do you call it? Building that they're going to be using as the guild. And he's like 30 billion won. And so then Jinwoo is like, well, I'll only do it on one condition, and that's it's just you and me doing, clearing these dungeons. And Gino is like, what? Just us? But the minimum requirement is 10 to go in to do a raid. And he was like, yeah, but, we'll just do what Dong-suk was doing. Get a party together enough that we can qualify to go in, and then we go in, because wouldn't it be better if we were able to complete these raids without any casualties or any accidents? Wouldn't that make you look really, really good? And so Gino was like, yes. And so basically Jinwoo agrees that he's going to help him because, again, that 30 billion won, I mean, yes, it'll be he did go through that thought process, like, who knows how high I can climb in levels, 30 billion won is going to be chump change, but
that's in the webtoon,
that's in the webtoon.
That's in the webtoon.
So he agrees to help him. And then from there, I think the next scene is him exercising with Gina, his sister. And that's when he realizes that, oh, it's actually counting more than what the actual quest is set for. I wonder what happens if I continue to do it. And so I think in the anime, he does that, and it actually shows him getting like a loot, like he could choose a loot box. But in the webtoon, it just shows him completing this, but then he has a key for completing a secret quest.
Okay.
Which was going over and above what his daily quest was. And then that's where we get the elixir of life. So in the anime, we see that, he sees the dungeon key, and then it gives the description, and it's like, oh, one of the possible rewards of clearing this dungeon is the elixir of life. That was not in the webtoon at all. He gets the key, he goes to the location where he can open the dungeon up, and he opens it not because of any elixir of life. He just wants to test the level of strength that he's attained so far. He just wants to see how strong he is.
So, okay.
That was his incentive in the webtoon.
So I think, like, I kind of like that subtle difference between the webtoon and the actual anime, because, okay, there's a lot of people that, well, I won't say a lot of people, but there's some people that has not read the webtoon. Me, guilty. So none's the wiser, because I wouldn't have known unless you said something, because you read a little bit ahead. But I think to the TV audience, that slight change, makes it even more interesting, considering that his mom is in the hospital because of the poisoning, and that elixir of life can cure everything. So now it's kind of like a driver for him to accomplish this goal. And with Jinwoo, like, I mean, with Jinwoo turning down initially that offer, I mean, when he had that, that inner thought that, okay, but what I'm doing, I can make more money by myself than sitting here partnered up with someone and have to worry about this cat over here while I handle certain business or whatever, which that was logical thought, because Jinwoo, for all intents and purposes, wasn't doing anything in that dungeon when he was fighting the giant spider. He was just sitting there in shiny armor, just sitting there like, okay, boss, I'll take your stuff. Whatever. And
he was in the background like, I've been working on the rail.
Easily with a pickaxe. Like, listen, I'm gonna get all this stuff for you. I'm gonna carry your bags, dog. I got you straight.
Would you like some water, sir?
Like, hey boss, how you doing? So the funny thing about it is that Jinwoo is oblivious to this. Like, even though the more levels that he go up, the more confident and slightly arrogant he gets, but he's stronger. But that's a natural response though. Like if you hit the gym and you showing a little bit of muscle tone, you get a little arrogant. You can't help yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, guilty. I'm one of them. So it's a difference. That dude suck though. He can't get drunk. That really do suck. And when I saw that for the first time, I thought about Captain America, the first Avenger, when he was sitting in the bar, when no one's there, and he kept drinking and he couldn't get drunk, and because of his super soldier serum. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that really does suck. But depends on how you look at it, because you might have some issues. You might want to drink a little bit and then like just forget them for the day. And he can't do that. But he don't have issues. So having that ability that he has, to me, that's OP as all get out, because you can't really get sick because you got the toxicity level non-existent. Anything that hurts your body, it's gonna heal itself. So it is. So at no point, well, so far that you got to, the elixir of life is not in the webtoon.
I don't know that I really like that change though. Like, I can understand why. It's not that I don't like the change. I can understand why they included that to serve as a compelling reason for him to go into a possibly S level dungeon. But really in the webtoon, he was just like, I'm just trying to see how strong I am. And then he meets the gatekeeper of hell, Cerebus.
Yeah.
And
that fight was tight, man. Listen, that fight was off the meat rack. I love that fight.
That creature gave him the business in the anime.
Yeah.
Gave him the business. However, in the webtoon. Wait. Let me look at my notes.
Oh, you gotta look in your notes. And
yes.
while Vievo was looking at them, okay?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. While she's looking at her notes, this battle didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go at the beginning. I thought that he was gonna go in there and wreck. Like, he was gonna go in there and handle business like there was no tomorrow, and then it didn't go the way I thought it was. I mean, he was getting banged around like crazy, and I was like, oh, this didn't go the way I thought it would. Because, and I do like that. I do like the unexpected nature of this anime, because typically with tropes and with shonen and stuff like that, once you get a little power up, you see some dominance. You see some level of dominance. And then when you see him fight the Cerberus and see him get his ass whipped, like barely coming out of there alive, I'm like, okay, all right. I'm even more vested in it. But what you got? Because you said there's a difference again with the webtoon and the anime.
Okay, so in the webtoon, before he even goes into the dungeon, it provides a little bit of context about S level or S rank dungeons, and that there's probably, I think they were saying there was less than 10. I think there was like 7, maybe 6 or 7 that have ever appeared. Yeah. And so they are not a common occurrence, none whatsoever. And so that's why they're super, super, super hard to clear. And he also talked about, or the webtoon talked about an island that one of them appeared on. I think it was Lagoon City, I forgot, but essentially it was a dungeon break, and essentially no humans. It was not habitable after the dungeon break. They couldn't it wasn't habitable. So it provides that context. So he goes in there again in the webtoon because he just wants to test to see how strong he is. He encounters Cerebus. And so, yes, he starts off, he goes in there again with the confidence and the ruthless aura. And he starts engaging Cerebus. He realizes very quickly that his attacks are having fairly any effect on Cerebus. And then Cerebus triggers its rage skill, in which all of its stats are doubled. And he's like,
Yeah.
like, and at that
Real
point,
life RPG.
yes, and at that point, Cerebus catches him and knocks him back the first time. But it knocks him back, like his health, I want to say, well, his health fell below 30%. So at that point, when he realized, and then he's going through that thought process, like, I'm the player, the system wants me to be alive, I can't let the system down, so I'm going to use the system. And that's when he like he triggers something, but he also activates his tenacity skill, because his health fell below 30%, and so that reduced incoming damage by 50%. But then I think he triggered all of his other status buffs in addition to doing his full recovery.
Yeah.
So when Cerebus comes in at him again, he grabbed, like, while he's laying on the ground like that, mind you, in the anime he lost his arm, but he triggered recovery, it grew back. I believe he did also lose his arm, or at least there was a hole through it in the webtoon, there was. But he recovers, Cerebus comes in, he grabs the head on the left side by the fangs. When I tell you this man did this wrestling move, and he twisted that dog's head, he broke its neck. He did some kind of crazy wrestling move, broke its neck. The other two dogs are like, what is happening? And then he slashes the far head on the right, takes its eyes out, and then he stabs the center head. And then all you hear is him screaming, tremble, rumble. And then the next panel is that he's won.
So wait,
and
he took out the dog's head one by one in the webtoon versus basically what he did in the anime. Oh wow. Okay, see, I like that result a little bit better. Like, I wanted to see that wrestling move in real time. Give it to me in the anime form. You just have
to see the panel, because the dog's head is like, it's like completely, it looks like a corkscrew. Like,
wow.
It was amazing.
I don't know what the threshold is with solo leveling as the animation, because I know with Crunchyroll and everything else, like, there's a limitation on blood and whatever the case may be, but solo leveling has a lot of blood splatter. I do like the Elixir of Life being included, and here's why I say that. So with the webtoon, like, I'm just gonna go test my strength. So if you really think about it, like, how much anime or manga have we seen or read where you want to go somewhere just to test yourself? You know, we've seen it, like, a lot. It's a trope, right? So I do like that little pivot, like they did with Elixir Life, because now you have a driver. Now you have, like, some sort of goal that Jinwoo is trying to accomplish, and which is really, honestly, in the beginning, that's why he was in the dungeons in the first place, is because of his mom. You know, that's the only reason why he's there.
And there was another door. So he entered the dungeon, but I think the actual door that he needed to get through to go to the actual, or maybe leads to the boss, the way to the boss in the webtoon, after he beat Cerebus, he was like, I'm not going to open. Oh, let me back up. During the anime, how he was like, oh, I can go to the store and I can buy health elixirs and stuff. Didn't do that in the webtoon. That didn't happen in the webtoon. How he was like, so there were two instances. When he first got into the dungeon, he was like, I have the teleportation stone. If it gets too dangerous, I'm gonna use it. And then it started getting too dangerous in the anime, and so he pulls out the teleportation stone, and Cerebus was like, not today, and he loses it. That was also not in the webtoon. Going to the store and getting health elixirs, that was not in the webtoon. Literally, he like full recovered himself and gave Cerebus the 1-2-3 punch, and it was done. And then at the end of that, he looked at the main dungeon door and was like, I'm not going in there. I'm not strong enough. I will die. So I'm gonna leave. And so, but he won all of the same rewards, like the collar. He got the key, I think the gate key, and then he got Cerebus Fang. Um, and he got all of those rewards. All of those that was the same.
But it seems like,
was.
Oh, I'm sorry. It seems like the anime is trying to fill some gaps, because typically, like when we read manga, we just, in some instances, that we'll fill in like the little small gaps, with certain things. Like, okay, this is what we think happened, but it's not really a big deal to us, because we put two and two together and that's what it is. But I think with the anime, I think they're filling in those gaps, and maybe the writer of Solo Leveling, like, okay, after I finish it, maybe I could change this, maybe I can change that, and that's probably where he's at with it. And
I get that. I get that. But I'm starting to see almost two different characters between the webtoon and the anime. Like, I think that in the webtoon, he's starting to get further along in his journey to either ruthlessness, or in his journey to ruthlessness. Was it in the anime that he acknowledged every time he uses a buff, or no, every time he levels up, he feels like he's losing a piece of himself, or something disappears?
Yeah, well, I think he noticed his level of confidence, like, increasing, because he's a night and day difference character from episode 1 till now. Not the same guy, like, at all. Because in episode 1, he was like, he's not a cowardly figure, but he's like a mild-mannered kid, where, okay, am the weakest person, and I'm here for my mom type thing. And
you know what? Forget I even said that. Never mind.
Oh, gotcha. So, I mean, it is a night and day difference. Oh, what happened?
No, me saying what I just said about him feeling like he's losing a piece of himself, that'll happen later. I'm sorry.
Spoilers. Shit, I see it now. I mean, I think, but because in this episode he did question himself, because, like, listen, I didn't kill a beast, I took out human life, but you really had no choice in the matter in that situation. Like, Jinwoo was like, and I'll do it again. He was like, and I'll do it again. I do it again. I do it again.
He said he would. But I feel like I like the Jinwoo in the webtoons more than the Jinwoo in the anime, but I think that's because he's further along in his descent.
Yeah.
Into the darkness. That's cliche, but I think they're trying to, like, with the anime, they're trying to string it along and give him additional character development, so people can really understand what he went through to get to where he is by the time the anime ends.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're reading the webtoon, like, you're seeing, like, you can like, just in his character design alone and how he's carrying himself, he just radiates. He, like, has an aura about him. So, but I mean, those are the main changes that or subtle differences that I saw between the webtoon and the anime. Regardless, I still liked it. Was a good show. It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And honestly, I'm starting to like the fact that they are actually filling the episodes, where it didn't necessarily left a huge cliffhanger, because after he see the other door, he's like, I'll be back. I damn near died on this one, but I'm gonna come back, train again, and I'm gonna come back and get through this door and see what I'm gonna do, because it seems like it's pieces to get the elixir of life. And I'm like, okay, I see that quest side of it going. And the funny thing about it is Jinwoo was very bold. He was like, I will keep your secret forever if you do this. Like, wait a minute, you gonna snitch? Like, did you just not see what this dude did? Like, he just saved your life. But the fact that Jinwoo actually stood there and turned around and kind of like looked at him and made Jinwoo kind of like backpedal a little bit. It's like, okay, whatever your father is doing, like, clearly, as a son, like, there's some similarities there. Like, you willing to go through, I wouldn't say nefarious means, but you know, just some slimy means to like actually get this person to join up by threatening them, like, hey, I'm gonna tell. Because he didn't say that outright, but you know, where we from, we know what that means. You about to snitch. You trying to snitch. So, I mean, this man can kill you right now. And no, you know, that's it. But overall, I think this is a good episode. So far, I feel like the fights are getting better and better. Like the Cerberus fight, so far that's been the best fight to me. Going through it, so I know he leveled up by several.
The next one.
Yeah, it's like level. Now, also, Dong Suk's brother, younger brother, he was like, hey, he's like, what I got left? Well, you can't deviate from that. All right. Well, y'all need to stay alive until I finish this. Then I'm gonna come kill you. Which
that was all accurate. He was like, "Hey, what happens if I kill somebody overseas? What's the punishment?" She was like, "Oh, you'll be tried, but you'll probably get a slap on the wrist." He was like, "Cool. Clear my schedule." "Oh, sir, but you're booked the next 2 months." "Damn. Well, make sure my schedule stays clear after that. Y'all better stay alive until I." I was like, wow, oh, that's dedication.
Hey man, listen, that's he's being studious. He's like, listen, I'm gonna like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna do my job, but I'm gonna finish this other job after I finish this job. But y'all need to stay alive so I can finish the job. But we'll see. But I have a sneaky suspicion that he will not finish the job, considering that's Jinwoo. But yeah, overall good episode, and we are going